A very good morning to everybody. I am Dr. Tarandeep. I am consultant cardiologist at Helium Hospital, Chandigarh. Today we are going to talk about heart disease and diabetes. जैसे कि हम सबको पता है कि हार्ट डिसीज एक बहुत कॉमन प्रॉब्लम है एंड हार्ट डिसीज जो मोस्ट कॉमन एडल्ट्स में कहा जाता है दैट इज कोरोनरी हार्ट डिसीज और कोरोनरी आर्टरी डिसीज। कोरोनरी आर्टरी डिसीज में बेसिकली हार्ट की जो खुद की ब्लड सप्लाई होती है, जो ब्लड वेसल्स बोलते हैं हार्ट की कोरोनरीज, उसमें ब्लॉकेजेस हो जाती हैं। इसकी मोस्ट कॉमन वजह एथेरोस्क्लेरोसिस होता है। एथेरोस्क्लेरोसिस में बेसिकली हार्ट की ब्लड वेसल्स में कैल्शियम एंड कोलेस्ट्रॉल डिपोजिशन हो जाता है। अगर हम हार्ट डिसीज की वजह की बात करें, स्पेशली कोरोनरी हार्ट डिसीज एंड ऑल, सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ रिस्क फैक्टर्स फॉर कोरोनरी हार्ट डिसीज, जिसमें कि मुख्य जो कारण है उसमें डायबिटीज, हाइपरटेंशन, एडवांसिंग एज, बैड कोलेस्ट्रॉल, इसके अलावा कुछ और जेनेटिक फैक्टर भी हो सकते हैं। सो जो भी व्यक्तियों में डायबिटीज रहती है उनमें हार्ट डिसीज होने की संभावना 2 से 4 गुना बढ़ जाती है, स्पेशली कोरोनरी हार्ट डिसीज। ऐसे पेशेंट्स के अंदर पक्षाघात यानी कि स्ट्रोक की संभावना 2 गुना बढ़ जाती है एंड हार्ट फेलियर होने की संभावना भी 5 गुना तक बढ़ सकती है। डायबिटीज डिफरेंट तरीके से हार्ट को अफेक्ट करती है। बेसिकली पहली चीज ये है कि कोरोनरी हार्ट डिसीज में डायबिटीज एथेरोस्क्लेरोसिस जो प्रोसेस है उसको एक्सेलरेट कर देती है, यानी कि उसको बढ़ा देती है। उसमें कोलेस्ट्रॉल डिपोजिशन ब्लड वेसल्स के अंदर, कैल्शियम डिपोजिशन, ब्लड की थिकनेस, क्लॉट फॉर्मिंग टेंडेंसी, जो ब्लड वेसल्स होती हैं उनकी नरोइंग, इन सब चीजों को डायबिटीज बढ़ा देती है। इसकी वजह से हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम्स होने की संभावना बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाती हैं। डायबिटीज एज सच डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स को अफेक्ट करती है, जिसको हम कॉम्प्लिकेशंस अगर हम डिवाइड करें बॉडी में तो इट कैन बी माइक्रो मैक्रोवास्कुलर कॉम्प्लिकेशंस। माइक्रोवास्कुलर कॉम्प्लिकेशंस बेसिकली डायबिटीज जो होती है आई में रेटिनोपैथी कराती है, नर्व्स की इन्वॉल्वमेंट को न्यूरोपैथी कहते हैं, एंड इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ किडनी वी कॉल इट एज नेफ्रोपैथी। And in macrovascular complications, basically we talk of this coronary heart disease. What I am saying of जो है heart cardiac involvement, plus obviously involvement of the blood vessels supplying the brain, जिसकी वजह से हमें पक्षाघात या stroke होता है। तो I think slowly and steadily we will be start taking questions. So one thing I would like to discuss कि diabetes के patients के अंदर there can be other associated risk factors like high BP, high cholesterol, and there can be associated things like obesity, any smoking tendencies and all. When we talk of cholesterol specifically, तो डायबिटीज के अंदर अगर हम बात करें गुड एंड बैड कोलेस्ट्रॉल की, तो इन गुड कोलेस्ट्रॉल वी कॉल इट एज HDL. Basically why we call it as good? Basically because it decreases the atherosclerosis process, जिसकी वजह से ब्लॉकेजेस होती हैं हार्ट के अंदर। And bad cholesterol, obviously it is the reverse. In terms of diabetes and bad cholesterol, diabetes specifically triglycerides को बढ़ाती है and which is obviously we consider as a bad cholesterol. And other than that, in case of LDL को usually diabetes इतना बढ़ाती नहीं है, but it makes it more dense and thick, जिससे कि atherosclerosis process बढ़ जाता है। And definitely in case of HDL, diabetes जो है HDL को कम कर देती है, जिसकी वजह से हार्ट डिसीज होने की संभावना बढ़ जाती है। इसके अलावा नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट टेकिंग क्वेश्चंस। सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज दैट व्हाट आर द सिम्टम्स ऑफ अ हार्ट अटैक बेसिकली। सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द सिम्टम्स ऑफ हार्ट अटैक, सो हार्ट अटैक कैन प्रेजेंट ऑब्वियसली it presents most commonly as sudden onset chest pain. सडनली पेशेंट को छाती में भारीपन या दुखाव हो सकता है। It can be burning sensation also, जिसके साथ sweating, giddiness और ये सारे फीचर्स भी हो सकते हैं। इसके अलावा there can be sudden onset of shortness of breath, यानी कि सडनली सांस में तकलीफ हो सकती है व्यक्ति को। इसके अलावा कभी कभी मरीज को बेहोशी भी हो सकती है, जिसको कि हम प्री सिंकोप या सिंकोप भी बोलते हैं। इसके अलावा अगर हम एक नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, इट इज अ वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन। At what cholesterol level should we start the medicines? So if we talk of the like cholesterol levels जिसके पर कि हमें मेडिसिन स्टार्ट करनी चाहिए, अर्लियर वी यूज टू हैव स्पेसिफिक लेवल्स ऑफ कोलेस्ट्रॉल जिस पर हम कोलेस्ट्रॉल लोअरिंग ड्रग्स को स्टार्ट करते थे, लेकिन सिंस लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स द रिकमेंडेशंस हैव ड्रास्टिकली चेंज्ड. सो बेसिकली वी डिवाइड इट इनटू 3 or 4 कैटेगरीज ऑफ पेशेंट, जिसमें कि हम देखते हैं कि इस व्यक्ति को या इस मरीज को कोलेस्ट्रॉल लोअरिंग मेडिसिन स्टार्ट करने की जरूरत है कि नहीं. सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट कि अगर किसी को पेशेंट को ऑलरेडी हार्ट की या कोरोनरी हार्ट डिसीज की या पहले स्ट्रोक का इशू है, तो हम उसमें विदाउट looking much at cholesterol levels, we start the medicines and we target the cholesterol levels, especially LDL levels, specifically as per the risk of the patient. उसके अलावा जो लोग डायबिटिक्स होते हैं, they are already at a high or very high risk, so we start the medications without taking into consideration LDL levels most of the time. इसके अलावा अगर किसी पेशेंट के अंदर LDL लेवल बहुत ज्यादा है, लाइक मोर देन 180 190, तो उसमें भी हम कंसिडरेशन करते हैं कोलेस्ट्रॉल लोअरिंग ड्रग्स स्टार्ट करने की. एंड लास्ट बट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, जो मेजर चंक ऑफ पेशेंट्स होते हैं, उसमें हम असेस करते हैं पेशेंट का आगे हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम होने का रिस्क ओवर नेक्स्ट 5 to 10 ईयर्स, एंड कंसीडरिंग द ओवरऑल रिस्क, अगर वो एक लिमिट से ज्यादा आता है तो हम उस केस में कोलेस्ट्रॉल लोअरिंग मेडिसिन स्टार्ट करते हैं. So I have got a question from Rahul. So what is the ideal BP level for diabetes patient and when should we start medicine for BP? So this is a very good question actually. So hypertension different types की हो सकती है. Hypertension in young जो हम बोलते हैं, जो अराउंड 30-35 साल की एज तक रहती है, then adult में, then hypertension in elderly. So most of the time we start treatment when the BP is not controlled. If the BP is more than 140/90 despite lifestyle interventions, and we try it for around 3 to 6 months. अगर उसके बाद भी BP कंट्रोल नहीं होता है, then we start with medications. Other than that, what is the target and what is the ideal BP for a diabetic person? So for diabetes basically we consider a BP of 130/80 to be good, but we have to take certain things into consideration, like elderly जैसे patients होते हैं, elderly patients के अंदर we have other associated comorbidities, और ऐसे patients के अंदर risk of low BP या hypotension का भी risk रहता है with BP lowering medications. So उसमें हम थोड़ा सा threshold high रखते हैं, and even a BP of 140/90 can be considered okay for a patient who is more than 70-75 years of age. So next question is, what is the ideal level of HbA1c? So I will just tell you what is HbA1c. HbA1c basically tells us the average blood sugar levels over last 3 months. So in this basically, in case of diabetes, we try to achieve a level of HbA1c of around 7. So in case the patient is having a history of kidney disease or elderly, we can try for a target of maybe 7.5, so as to reduce the risk of hypoglycemia. यानी कि उसकी शुगर कम होने की संभावना ऐसे मरीजों में ज्यादा रहती है, तो हम 7.5 तक भी HbA1c लेवल ऐसे पेशेंट्स के अंदर एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं. So next question is so how can we assess our cardiac risk of having any cardiac issues in future? So when we are talking of cardiac risk assessment की मुझे हार्ट डिसीज होने की संभावना कितनी है आगे जाके, तो इसमें हमें 3-4 चीजों को देखना होता है. पहली चीज तो आपकी एज कितनी है, बिकॉज एज इज वन ऑफ द मेजर रिस्क फैक्टर्स फॉर हार्ट डिसीज. ऑब्वियसली हम एज को चेंज नहीं कर सकते हैं, बट अगर कोई व्यक्ति हमारे पास 70 साल का आ रहा है, तो ये संभावना ज्यादा होगी कि उसको हार्ट की प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, rather than a kid who is 15 years old and coming with us with chest pain or something like that. इसके अलावा हम मरीज का कार्डियक एग्जामिनेशन करते हैं, उसके एग्जामिनेशन में कोई फाइंडिंग्स अगर हम पाते हैं, देन वी प्लान फॉर फर्दर कार्डियक इवेल्युएशन. इसके अलावा क्या मरीज को या किसी को कोई सिम्टम्स तो नहीं है स्पेसिफिकली, लाइक chest pain on exertion or heaviness in chest on exertion or any shortness of breath especially on exertion. कोई history of syncope तो नहीं है, that is loss of consciousness, that is transient loss of consciousness. या किसी को कोई पैल्पिटेशंस की हिस्ट्री तो नहीं है, तो हम उसकी पूरी मेडिकल हिस्ट्री लेते हैं एंड वी ट्राई टू असेस द सिम्टम्स एंड ऑल। इसके अलावा हम उसकी फैमिली हिस्ट्री देखते हैं। We try to see for the blood investigations. Blood investigations में most importantly we see for the CBC, उसका kidney functions test हो गए, then उसका HbA1c, fasting blood sugar levels, lipid profile and all those kind of things, and also obviously thyroid profile. And with all these kind of things and along with the age of the patient, we do a risk scoring. There are different risk scores available, risk calculators available. उसके हिसाब से हम मरीज की आगे हार्ट डिसीज होने की प्रोबेबिलिटी को कैलकुलेट करते हैं। जैसे कि कोई पेशेंट कैन बी इन लो रिस्क, कोई सम पेशेंट कैन बी इन मॉडरेट रिस्क और somebody कैन बी हाई और वेरी हाई रिस्क। डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दिस वी advise the medications and further preventive measures for having heart disease, and we guide the patient accordingly. So the next question is, so I am a 47-year-old diabetic since last 21 years, consuming gluconon PG1 and Galvesmet 50 by 500 milligram daily, twice daily for the last 6 months. Now I started cycling daily for 3 to 4 kilometers and fasting sugar level is now 110 by 215. Should I continue with this medicine or change it? Please guide. This question has come from Mr. Yogesh. So obviously if we see Mr. Yogesh is a 47-year-old diabetic and he is diabetic since last 21 years. Any person who is having diabetes since more than 20 years, he is in a high or very high risk, specifically in high risk. So in these kind of patients, he has a fasting sugar level of 110 to 115. So what investigation should be advised? Obviously these kind of patients should be having a HbA1c level, which will tell the sugar control in these patients. Then these patients should have like lipid profile so that we can target the lipids accordingly, because this patient is in high risk strata. So the ideal LDL levels in this kind of patient should be less than 70. And I don't know, he has not mentioned इनको जो पहले और दवाइयाँ चल रही हैं, he has just mentioned his blood sugar medications. So these kind of patients can be considered for aspirin also. Otherwise aspirin we usually give in patients who are diabetics and more than 50 years of age along with other risk factors. So I think it can be done. And now I have got a question: how can I decrease my chances of heart disease? So it is a basically holistic approach. So how can you decrease your chances of heart disease? So first of all, you have to change your lifestyle. Most important is physical activity. A moderate level of physical activity, which is aerobic activity for at least 30 to 60 minutes per day actually is required. Other than that, a healthy diet which is rich in fruits, nuts and vegetables should be done. No processed foods. Other than that, you have to manage your stress. Obviously stress is part of everyday's life, but you can manage your stress with yoga, meditation, and most importantly, it is not always yoga, meditation. You can just do recreational activities. You can play with your kids. You can do gardening. You can listen to music. These all things help in a long way. And then obviously if you are addicted to like smoking, tobacco chewing or alcohol, you can stop those things. And then other than that, obviously regular health checks are very important. In regular health checks, obviously we can get our blood investigations done, we can get our blood sugar levels, we can get our blood cholesterol levels. Now the important question is when to get these things checked actually, because we have seen people, a 20-year-old person or 25-year-old person who is coming to us with blood investigations and asking for the remedies and all. So now the thing is that we have to understand like heart disease, I have already told, like increasing age increases the risk of heart disease. So obviously we have to consider what is the benefit of getting some blood tests done. So there have been guidelines which say like after 20 years of age, every 5 years you can get your lipid profile and all those kind of things. Like personally, I believe like in India, in which we have high percentage of diabetic population and all, we can just get our lipid profile checked maybe after 25-30 year of age. every 5 years. We can obviously, because we have a high diabetic population, we can just get our fasting blood sugar checked maybe once or twice in a year, and it's very easy to get it checked. And other than that, you can just go to a specific physician or a cardiologist if you are worried about your risk of having a heart disease. And for example, what to do if somebody has some like abnormal findings on investigations or something like that. So now there are other tests available to further risk stratify the risk of an individual of having a हार्ट प्रॉब्लम. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर किसी को किडनी की प्रॉब्लम है या स्पेसिफिकली डायबिटीज है, तो ये पेशेंट ऑलरेडी हाई रिस्क में आते हैं. इनके लिए ऑलरेडी वी स्टार्ट विथ मेडिकेशंस. बट कुछ ऐसे पेशेंट होते हैं जो ग्रे एरिया में होते हैं, जो दे आर नॉट वेरी लो रिस्क एंड ऑब्वियसली बीच में कैटेगरी में आते हैं. तो हाउ टू फर्दर रिस्क स्ट्रेटिफाई, तो इसके लिए वी हैव डिफरेंट इन्वेस्टिगेशंस अवेलेबल. वी हैव अ calcium score on a CT scan. We have like we can see for the plaque burden in carotid artery or the femoral artery, and हम इन टेस्ट से डिटरमाइन कर सकते हैं कि आगे फ्यूचर में इस पर्सन का कितना आगे रिस्क है एंड वेदर हम मेडिसिन स्टार्ट करके इस पेशेंट को कुछ बेनिफिट दे पाएंगे कि नहीं. सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. So now I have got a question from Mr. Narayan Das. So he has said, how many percentage of pumping required of person whose bypass surgery has been done? So I would like to tell you actually. I think this he is asking for a patient whose bypass surgery has already been done. So when a patient is being taken for a bypass surgery or angioplasty, so we have to see. Obviously, when the patient is going to go for a bypass surgery, the patient will have a coronary anatomy. उसके हार्ट की ब्लड वेसल्स की एनाटमी ऐसी होती है कि उसमें स्टेंटिंग की संभावना थोड़ी कम होती है या बहुत ज्यादा रिस्की होती है. तो ऐसे पेशेंट्स में जनरली हम बाईपास सर्जरी एडवाइस करते हैं. प्लस कई बार ऐसे पेशेंट्स में हार्ट की पंपिंग भी कम होती है. सो इन दिस केस वी हैव टू सी कि हार्ट की जो मसल्स हैं कितनी वायबल हैं. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि बाईपास सर्जरी से पहले ऑलरेडी, बिकॉज वी हैव टू ब्लड वेसल्स राइट एंड लेफ्ट जो हार्ट को सप्लाई करते हैं. लेफ्ट की दो ब्रांचेस होती हैं, तो वी कॉल इट एज लाइक 3 ब्लड वेसल्स व्हिच आर सप्लाइंग द हार्ट. तो सम पार्ट ऑफ हार्ट माइट बी ऑलरेडी डेड बिफोर बाईपास और स्टेंटिंग. सो दैट पार्ट ऑफ द हार्ट विल नॉट इम्प्रूव आफ्टर बाईपास. सो वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट कि जो हार्ट का पार्ट है जिसमें ब्लड सप्लाई क्रिटिकली कम थी, तो बाईपास सर्जरी इज गोइंग टू हेल्प दैट. एंड उसी चीज से डिटरमाइन होगा कि हार्ट की फंक्शनिंग कितनी इंप्रूव होगी. अगर हार्ट का डैमेज परमानेंट नहीं है बिफोर बाईपास सर्जरी और स्टेंटिंग, तो आपको बेनिफिट उतना ही ज्यादा मिलेगा. सो नाउ देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम रोहित ठाकुर. At 2600 plus heart rhythm regularly, is it serious? And a BP of 140/82. So when we see what is our normal heart rate, our normal heart rate is between 60 to 100 usually, and in his case the BP is 140/82. So this kind of scenario is very common in young individuals, like they come with a BP which is like borderline raised or mildly raised, and they have tachycardia. So this hypertension I have already like discussed, this is hypertension in the young. So I think in his case most important would be lifestyle changes. The stress, the anxiety and all those things can lead to rise in BP. But still most important is that he should be having regular BP monitoring. And if his BP is like shooting up to 150, 160, so he can have an ambulatory BP monitoring done. And that will decide whether he requires any medications or not. Other than that, he can get his renal functions test, and accordingly further management plan can be decided for him. So I have got a very good question from Mrs. Alvina. She is a diabetic patient, and after how long of continuous use of oral hypoglycemic agents one should start insulin? So I would like to say a few things. When we talk of diabetes can be of two types. Obviously, it is of many types, but broadly classifying it is of two types: type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is that in which there is basically insulin deficiency, so we have to start with insulin. Type 2 is basically there is insulin deficiency, and our body also sometimes is not responding to the insulin which is already present in the body, and which is known as insulin resistance. So obviously when we are starting the oral hypoglycemics or the oral tablets for diabetes, it is type 2 diabetes. So earlier it was like we didn't have much of oral hypoglycemics to choose, and these medications had a lot of risk of hypoglycemia also. That means कि ऐसे patients में शुगर की गोली खाने पे ब्लड शुगर लेवल्स काफी कम हो जाते थे, लेकिन टाइम के साथ ही पिछले 10-15 सालों में बहुत अच्छी शुगर की मेडिसिन आ गई हैं, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, टू टेल द ट्रुथ, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम द patients can be managed very well on oral hypoglycemic agents. There are different varieties of agents also. There are certain patients जिनको की रिस्पॉन्स अच्छा नहीं आता है oral hypoglycemic agents के बाद भी, तो उनमें हमें इंसुलिन शुरू करनी पड़ती है. Earlier we had like one or two types of insulin. Now we have very long acting insulins, तो उसमें हमें इंसुलिन भी एक आध बारी ही लगानी पड़ती है. तो दैट इज मोर कंफर्टेबल टू द पेशेंट ऑल्सो, एंड इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी कि अगर आप ओरल हाइपोग्लाइसेमिक एजेंट्स पे हो तो आपको आगे इंसुलिन की रिक्वायरमेंट आएगी ही आएगी, स्पेसिफिकली इन टुडेज सिनेरियो व्हेन वी हैव गॉट लॉट ऑफ गुड मेडिकेशंस व्हिच हैव शोन वेरी गुड इफेक्ट इन like management of heart disease and even heart failure also, even sometimes better than insulin also. So it is not always that insulin is a better thing. So we have got very good drugs, and they definitely help us a lot. So I've got a very good question from Amrinder. So he has asked me, in diabetes patient, stenting is better or bypass? So obviously this is a very important question. You see, in diabetes what happens when we talk of blockages in the heart? In diabetes there is a diffuse involvement in the arteries. Diffuse involvement means there is not a focal point blockage. So these kind of patients, if we are putting stents, actually they are usually long, and in diabetic patients the blood vessels are narrow sometimes. So the smaller the size of the stent, the more chances you are going to have like it can block, but it is not always there. So he has asked a question whether stenting should be done or bypass should be done. So I would like to give it the answer in a way like, if somebody has a focal blockage, or if maybe 2 or 3 blockages, and the stenting can be safely done, so the current generation stents are good enough to give results as equal as bypass. In those patients, which it has come in studies, which are diabetic and have low pumping of the heart, in those patients bypass does better. But we have to see the overall picture of the patient. Sometimes the patient is a very high risk patient for bypass, and obviously bypass is a bigger surgery as compared to a stenting. So these all kind of things we have to see before taking a patient for either a bypass or angioplasty, and we have to tell the obviously relatives which will be better for the patient for long term. So now I have got a question from Mr. Pradeep. Is it safe to get heart surgery done during COVID? Any precautions for heart patients? So this is a very valid and good question from Mr. Pradeep. So he is planning to, if somebody is planning to get a heart surgery during COVID, so one has to understand what is the urgency or emergency of that surgery. If some surgery is urgently required, one should go for it. One should not wait for the surgery, because as of now we don't know how much long we don't have any specific treatment for COVID, and unnecessarily delaying surgeries which are actually required will only bring further damage to the heart. So I think you can just have a talk with your cardiologist or the cardiac surgeon. As per your cardiac problem, they can discuss with you, and obviously if there is any urgency or emergency, you should go for it, because now we have testing available almost everywhere, and along with all precautions, surgery can be safely done. So I think that will do. So I've got a question. I am Neelam. I have asthma since last 28 years, but I have done regular yoga. My question is that need to check up heart or not? Age is 54 years. So Neelam is 54 years, female. She has a history of asthma since 26 years. So considering evaluation for heart disease in a normal patient otherwise also, so in European guidelines or other countries, basically they recommend after the age of 40-45 years you can just go for a cardiac evaluation, specifically in high risk patients, especially those who are diabetics and all. For she's having asthma, I will suggest that she can consult a cardiologist or a good physician. And because asthma leads to problems like shortness of breath. Sometimes in heart disease you can have problems like dyspnea or shortness of breath. So it is always good to differentiate between the two things, because many times it happens the patients have been getting treatment for asthma, but ultimately they turn out to be heart failure patients. So I think it is not a bad option. You should visit a doctor and you should get your heart checked. So I have got a message from Mr. Chan. I take daily Glazid 40 mg. Is it safe? And my random sugar is 108. So obviously the medicines, oral hypoglycemics which are available today are totally safe, and obviously these group of drugs cause a bit of hypoglycemia. I will suggest if you are having a random sugar of 108, you should get your regular sugar levels checked along with HbA1c. And maybe if you change your lifestyle, you might even be able to stop the medications also. Okay. And now I have got a message from Mr. Sanjeev. What exercise is good for heart and diabetes? So basically, I have already discussed 30 to 60 minutes of daily physical activity, moderate level aerobic physical activity is definitely good for heart. It doesn't put pressure or load on your heart, and it improves the collateral circulation in the heart, so that in the future if somebody is going to have a heart problem, these collaterals help in a lot of way to prevent the damage which goes to the heart. And then talking about the medicines which need to be taken for primary prevention. So primary prevention is one thing, those patients जिनको की heart की problem नहीं है. So we get lot of patients basically who come to us who are already on blood thinners, who are taking cholesterol medications, and they just bring their reports to us and then they say whether this medicine is okay or not. So one thing I would like to share with you, it is very important when you are taking some medication, you have to understand whether this medication is going to help you or not. So for cholesterol, I have already discussed, we have to risk assess the patient whether some medicine is going to help him or not. Basically in very high risk patient, we directly start with the cholesterol lowering medications. Similarly, blood thinners I will like to discuss, because lot of patients are taking blood thinners, not even here but even outside India. They are just taking aspirin maybe once in a week just to prevent the risk of heart attack. But I will suggest there are no guidelines for that. And for diabetics specifically, because we are talking of diabetes, so I will suggest those patients who are more than 50 years of age and having diabetes with other risk factors, they have to start with the aspirin. And in females the cutoff is 60 years. One more thing regarding macrovascular complications जैसे stroke, जैसे पक्षाघात होता है, बेसिकली स्ट्रोक किसी को पैरालिसिस होता है, तो इन फीमेल्स इट हैज बीन शोन कि जो हाइपरटेंसिव हैं, नॉट इवन डायबिटीज बट जो हाइपरटेंसिव हैं फीमेल्स जिनकी एज 65 ईयर्स से ज्यादा है, उसमें डेफिनेटली एस्पिरिन कैन हेल्प इन रिड्यूसिंग द रिस्क ऑफ स्ट्रोक, पैरालिसिस और इसके अटैक को प्रिवेंट करते हैं. तो these females who are more than 65, not even diabetic, they can also consider starting aspirin in low dose 75 mg alternative that will help in preventing stroke in these patients basically. So I have a question which is the best medicine in hypertension? So we have a lot of drugs which are available for blood pressure. So we have ACE inhibitors, ARBs, and calcium channel blockers, and basically more important is the control of BP. It is not हम BP की क्या दवाई शुरू कर रहे हैं. Most of the time आज की डेट में combination of drugs are also available, which is obviously being prescribed a lot. एंड इसमें जनरली ये रहता है कि अगर किसी का बीपी माइल्डली रेस्ड है लाइक 140 150 के आसपास, तो हम सिंगल सॉल्ट के साथ शुरू करते हैं. अगर बीपी 160 से ऊपर रह रहा है या नीचे का बीपी 90 100 से ऊपर जा रहा है, देन वी कैन स्टार्ट विद कॉम्बिनेशन थेरेपी. कभी भी अगर हम ड्रग ले रहे हैं तो वी शुड ऑलवेज टेल आवर फिजिशियन और डॉक्टर हमारी मेडिकल हिस्ट्री, बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ ड्रग्स आर देयर जो कि हमारा यूरिक एसिड बढ़ा सकती हैं. हमारी कुछ ड्रग्स होती हैं वो डायबिटीज को डिसरेगुलेट कर सकती हैं. एंड देन काफी मेडिसिन ऐसी हैं जो सोडियम लेवल को, पोटेशियम लेवल को ऑल्टर करती हैं. स्पेसिफिकली जो एल्डरलीज होते हैं उसमें बहुत ज्यादा हमें एग्रेसिवली बीपी को नहीं ड्रॉप करना है, नहीं तो इट कैन लीड टू फॉल्स एंड इंजरीज. एंड स्पेशली हाइपोनेट्रीमिया जो कि लो सोडियम लेवल्स होते हैं, ये बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है एल्डरली में. वी गेट लॉट ऑफ एडमिशंस बिकॉज ऑफ हाइपोनेट्रीमिया एंड दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ ड्रग्स. तो हमें बहुत ही केयरफुल रहना है whenever we are giving medicines for BP. We should, most important is that we have to see what is the medical history of the patient, उसको कोई और associated problems तो नहीं है, and accordingly we are going to start with those medications. So now I have a question. Sir, do diabetics have more chances of heart disease? Obviously I have already told, like diabetics have like if we talk of age expectancy, अगर हम बात करें कि लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी क्या होती है ऑफ अ नॉर्मल पर्सन एंड अ डायबिटिक, तो एक डायबिटिक की लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी वी कैन कंसीडर 8 to 10 years कम हो जाती है. मे बी दैट इज नॉट एग्जैक्टली ट्रू विद द today's scenario because we have got very good medications and we are having better control of diabetes. And so and otherwise also 2 to 4 times risk of death because of diabetes. And because diabetes can cause like cardiac failure, it can cause cardiac arrest because of heart attack, and like stroke and paralysis it can cause. So thank you everyone. It was a pleasure talking with you, and we are also available for teleconsult, so you can visit our website for that. And I think we will keep sharing with you about other diseases also in future. Thank you. Thanks a lot. One more.